Hello, welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is Going Bold, and we are going bold with the experts today. That is for sure. So just check out our site, goingboldmedia.com. All our wonderful hosts and guests are on there. But today we're going to talk about Link to Expert Business Showcase, and I am one of the small hosts here. I'm Cece Schatz, the Doyenne of Relationship Building. But I have my good friend here, and she's the driver of this show that we're doing. So, Joanne, share a little bit about yourself.
Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're here. We love to impart to you all these different insights from all these different experts. Today, it's so exciting. We're going to learn how to empower millions of people. And it's just one of my favorite subjects and one of my favorite people, Lynda Sunshine West. And I am Joanne Weiland when you can fly. I am the founder of the collaborative cloud community, Link to Expert. And of course, I created it so that we could do things like we're doing today, showcase to the world what different people can do to make such an impact in your life, to change your life so you can transform. So we welcome Lynda.
Absolutely. So let's see. Our show today is going to be how to empower 5 million people with Lynda Sunshine West. Let's bring her up.
Well, hi, Lynda. Thanks for joining us. I'm so grateful that you were available today because I really do believe that your message is going to make such a difference. I want people, that are tuning in, listening in, to think about when you were 5 years old. What was it like? Because when I think about it, it's pretty intimidating because you are usually told what to do. Well, Lynda ran away from home when she was 5 years old for a whole week. Can you imagine? I just remember losing my little 5-year-old one time in a store, and I panicked, and it wasn't even probably 5 minutes, let alone a week. So what happened was she developed all these kinds of fears, and it's of course very natural. But what happened was when she was 51 years old, she literally decided no more. And she not only decided to get rid of some of her fears, she decided to get rid of all of them every day for a whole year, day after day, for 365 days. She released a fear so that now she has the confidence to be able to help these 5 million people we're talking about. And she helps them by helping them write their story that will impact the world. So Lynda, we welcome you. We're so excited that you're on the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here and to talk about this because, empowering people with tools to do things that they truly want to do is something that's a blessing that I've been given. And so, of course, I give back as much as I possibly can.
Well, it is great. It is great having you. So you're the founder and the CEO of Action Takers Publishing, in this publishing and a speaker. You're also a speaker yourself. And so you're a 36-time first international bestselling and award.
Can you imagine 36 times?
36 times. So
international bestselling.
Obviously, she knows what the heck she's doing. So, you're a contributing writer, and you've been on several magazines. You've also been in several magazines.
Entrepreneur magazine, and a contributing writer. It's amazing what she's done.
Brainz magazine. Yeah, the list goes on. We could be a whole.
Well, and the films that you've been involved.
Unbelievable all that you've done. But let's talk a little bit. How do we empower? Like, we talked about why you decided to empower yourself, because you had the fears from when you were a child. And I will tell you, I ran away from home too, but not nearly as brave as you, because I ran away at before lunchtime, packed lunch. By the time it was dinner time, I had to come home. So I was nowhere near as brave as you. So, so to empower people, it's truly a gift, and not everyone can can do that in their lifetime. And so you have done this 36 times with your best-selling, books and everything. So tell us a little bit about that journey of, number one, empowering yourself to empower others, thinking like, why would you want to empower someone else? And then we'll talk about like, how can we do it?
Thanks for the question. That's a great question, because we don't really we don't do things for people. They have to do them themselves. So as far as the empowerment of others, it's really giving them the tools, the inspiration, the motivation for them to actually take the action. So we can't take the action for them, but we can help them get to that point that they're like, you know what, I can do this. I got this. And that's what I do, through breaking through a fear every single day for an entire year. I was 51 years old when I ended up breaking through those fears every single day. I learned a little bit about fear, and that's really, fear is what stops a lot of us from doing things that we might want to do. We might have an inkling of that thing, or maybe it's something we've wanted to do for a long time, and we just have allowed the fear to stop us. Mm-hmm. For myself, as far as, breaking through those fears, that's really what gave me, again, those like tools that I needed in order to first recognize that I'm experiencing fear. Because when we recognize that whatever it is going on inside of our body, when we can recognize that that's fear, now I have awareness of something. I'm like, oh, okay, this is fear. Now I get to decide what I'm going to do with it. Am I going to break through it, or I'm going to let it stop me, from doing something? And so what I've done is I have empowered myself with these different tools that help me to recognize fear. First is to recognize it, and then to say, oh, that awesome. This is just fear. This is just fear. I'm going to do this because I'm scared. And I wrote a book recently called Do It Because You're Scared. And it's all about, you think about fear. I'll just go through this really quick, is that you think about fear, the fears that you've experienced in your life, the fears that you actually broke through. How did you feel after you broke through those fears? Well, you might have been proud of yourself that you did it, or maybe a door was opened that you didn't know was closed. Maybe you met somebody that helped you to get to that next level. So if you think about it, if this is what happens about 99% of the time when we break through our fears, these are the results we're going to get. If you think about it, why are you depriving yourself of those amazing things that might happen? So now what I do this because I'm scared, because I don't know what's on the other side. And so what this has done for me is created this, this excitement about fear, and it's completely changed the way I see fear in my life. And now I do things because I'm scared, and there's the things that are, things in my life have unfolded astronomically. Like I'm doing things today that I never even thought of because I didn't even know they existed, because I've broken through those fears.
I want to hear about what you're doing today, but first I would like to know, because I'm always curious, how did you identify each day? Was it always a different fear, or Lynda, was it sometimes like the same fear, but you just knew that you had to go deeper? Or tell us more.
Yeah. So how I ended up doing this was January 1st of 2015. When I woke up that morning, I realized that I had so many fears, and I said, I've got to do something different. Because like when we recognize something's going on, this is when we get to effect change. Yeah. And so I said, those fears, like I got to break through a fear every day this year, because fear is stopping me. It is controlling my life. And so every morning, the very first thing I did before I even got out of bed is when I woke up, I asked myself a question: what scares me? And then I laid in bed, and I waited till the very, very first fear popped into my head. And my commitment, this was a commitment to myself. My commitment was to break through that fear that day, no matter what the fear was. I had no idea what fears were going to hop up. I had no idea. So there were many that were repeats, not identical repeats, but they were repetitive, like going to a networking event and talking to somebody, talking to a stranger. I used to drive to networking events. I would stop the car in the parking lot, not go inside, and drive back home because I was so scared of talking to people. Wow. So what I recognized during this year, about 3 months into it, is that my fear of judgment was my greatest fear. Now I'm armed with knowledge. I know that my fear of judgment is my greatest fear. So what this means is that I can work on that one fear. It was actually an exciting time for me
Oh,
because now I,
yeah.
Great. So what you're really saying is that you created awareness for yourself so that you realize, oh, this is happening to me and I need to create a shift. I need to do something different, opposite of it, step out of the box, so to speak, right?
yeah.
And I totally get that. I mean, I've been asked many times with regards to relationships, what is the one thing that holds people back? And the biggest thing is fear. Stepping forward and building a relationship with someone, it's fear that holds us back and our insecurities. And so we allow our insecurities to take over, creating fear. And so kudos to you for realizing that that's what you're doing, and so that you can create awareness and sidestep that, so to speak. So yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is that awareness, because it's through our awareness that we can effect change. And this is one thing that I've gotten really good at. Like, I wasn't good at this before, but I've gotten good at practicing being aware of how I'm feeling, being aware of where my thoughts are going. And so when I find myself off track, and off track for me might be like, I shouldn't be doing this. I don't know who I'm doing. Who do I think I am? Imposter syndrome starts seeping in. All these different negative things that start seeping in. I've gotten really good at recognizing, oh, I'm going down that negative path. Oops, I need to course correct and just come back, and then just redirect myself. Do a pivot and move back into positive land, because that's where I choose to spend the rest of my life. I spent so many decades in negative land. Like, I don't want to be there anymore.
I totally get that. And the other thing came to mind when you were talking was, like, a lot of things that come across our path, right? It's kind of like a divine position or divine way, like it's something we're supposed to do, right? And I often tell, I don't know, Joanne, if you've heard me say this before, I often say, God will open the door for me, but no, I've got to climb through the window, because I've got to make it harder on myself. And so I think a lot of times when things come across our path, it's a divine message that this is the way we're supposed to go. This is the step we're going to take. And I know, like you, Joanne, when we were talking about doing this show, you were like, I don't know about this. Oh, I don't know. And I said, come on, you can do it. We talk all the time. We talk about all kinds of things. Just come on and talk. That's all you got to do. Just share, your opinion and your thoughts on things, and inspire people like you always do, And so here she is today doing something she never thought she would do.
Awesome.
And that's really a good point. But I can also tell you, was curious when Cece, you said earlier that you sidestep it. Do you guys consider it sidestepping that fear, or trying to transform it, or wanting, and even transforming it to, instead of just sidestepping it? Because to me, I feel like when we use that word, maybe it's just me, we're leaving it there so that it'll come back again, probably pretty soon. So could you talk more about that, Lynda? Did you, is it sidestepping them or transforming them, or what would you call it?
Yeah, it's interesting because that terminology, I don't think that's really as much relevant as the action that you're actually taking. So sometimes, a lot of my fears kept popping up. So was I sidestepping them, or was it that I was just chipping away at them? So some of the fears were so deep rooted. That fear of judgment that I had was so deep rooted from when I was 5 years old and I ran away. That's where it really started. Because when I came back home after being gone a week, by the way, I was just at the neighbor's house. So I was in a safe environment. And something happened though. I want to share what happened in that week when I was gone. Is nobody came to get me. So in this 5-year-old brain, a belief was established at that age. And that belief was that nobody came to get me because they don't love me and they don't want me around. So I carried myself around my life looking for people who didn't love me and didn't want me around, because that's what I was attracting, because that was my belief. Right. And so the reality was that my mom did know where I was. She knew I was safe, but this 5-year-old didn't know. she knew where I was, right? So I established my own belief. My mom said later, many, decades later, when I found all this out, is that she knew where I was, and she was just letting me exercise my independence. We had 5 kids. I know, at 5 years old. Well, 5 kids, I'm number 4. So by that time, she's like, what else, And so, but she had no idea what was happening inside of my brain. If she knew that, my mom definitely would not have let me stay, because my mom did love me, but I had that belief that she didn't. So now what happens is there's something in our brain, it's called the reticular activator system, that suddenly I started looking for this situation. I had 49 jobs in 36 years. I don't even know how many places my husband and I have lived, because I was constantly running away. So what I asked myself later, again, that awareness, I started asking myself, was I actually running away, or was I running to something better? Because a lot of times, we see situations and we see it as it is. But what if we flip it on its head and we look at the complete opposite of it? And we say, that's not really what it is. So a great example of this, you're talking about relationships, Cece. When I was 21, I had 2 babies. I had a 4-week-old and a 14-month-old. Well, I ended up marrying somebody just like my dad, my first marriage, a very volatile, abusive person. And in those 2 years that I was with him, we had 2 kids, and a lot of damage happened inside of my brain about who I am, my beliefs. He made sure I knew how stupid and ignorant I was on a daily basis.
Wow,
and unfortunately, I believed him. So at 21, I've got this 4-week-old and this 14-month-old. And I was like, this is it. I'm not living here anymore. I'm not going to repeat my mom's life. So I put a diaper bag over one shoulder. I put my purse over the other shoulder, a baby on a hip, and one in a baby carrying case. And I literally walked out because I didn't have a car. So I walked out of that environment, and people look at that like, wow, that was so brave. You did that. Well, here's the reality of the situation, is that I was not brave in my mind. This was me breaking through another fear. See, I had 2 fears, the fear of staying and the fear of leaving. The fear of staying meant repeating my mom's life, 55 years of being with an abusive man. The fear of leaving meant experiencing something new, unknown. I had no idea what was going to happen. So in that situation, I had 2 fears, the fear of staying, the fear of leaving. Well, I got to decide which fear is stronger. My fear of staying was stronger than my fear of leaving. So I left.
Very good. Very good. Well, I think sometimes we have to, and that's empowering yourself, right? Isn't it? That's saying, listen, I want to take control of this no matter what happens, whatever the result might be. I'm going to think it's positive. It's got to be more positive than where I am at, and so when you're being abused like that, you certainly, and I've experienced it myself, and you certainly have to say, enough, and something's got to be better than what it is here. And so you'll make that change. And I just wanted to say, with regards to the sidestepping, because I know that I did say that, because I do think that sometimes we can't overcome all our fears at one time. Well, but sometimes when we take little steps, and we start doing little things towards, like, something that we might want to do that we're a little bit fearful of doing. If we take steps towards doing that, we start to realize it's not so bad, I can do this. And I think that's kind of what happened, with you, Joanne, is like you were a little bit fearful of doing this. But then once you started kind of going, okay, well, let me do a little here, let me do a little there, you realize that it's really not as difficult or as scary. We're not as scary as you thought. So yeah, I love what you're saying. I mean, I think,
well,
Lynda,
and I do agree that it is a process. I mean, myself, I've overcome so many things as well, but many of them keep coming back in as kind of like a different version or a different, chapter or whatever you want to call it. So I wasn't picking on you about the sidestepping. I just wanted us to be able to explain. You can't I don't think, maybe I'm just not there yet, but I can't immediately transform a big fear into, a no fear of it. but you still do it. And the more you do it, just like Cece just used this show as an example, the more comfortable I get. And I love it, actually. And I knew I would love it, but I was scared I would flop or, say stupid things or, I don't know, just as an example with this one. So Cece, I totally agree with the sidestepping. I just wanted us to clarify that so people don't think
Oh,
that
yeah,
they can wiggle their nose and instantly, they're going to go into a networking meeting, and like Lynda was sharing earlier, and talk to everybody in the room.
I'd like to expound on that, because there's something you said there, Joanne, that I love. This is that, this topic here, because, fears, like we talk about, big fears, little fears, and what have you. Fear is fear. It doesn't have a size. It's imagined anyway, right? Fear is there's a saying, false evidence appearing real, which, by the way, I hate that saying, because that's not true at all. It's not false at all. And there's no evidence of it appearing real, because fear is as real can be to me. My fears are not your fears. They're not equal. They're not something for me that, like, there's agoraphobia, for example. This is the fear of stepping outside of your house. And this is a fear that a lot of people look and they're like, that's a weird fear.
Right.
Well, maybe your fear is weird to that person. And so we can't compare fears. Yeah. So what I like to say is every single time you break through a fear or you step through a fear, whatever it is, whatever that chip through it or whatever, is that you're enlarging the size of your comfort zone. So the first time you got onto doing a video, you might have had these nervousnesses going around, your stomach, and maybe your throat was locking up. You had all these different experiences that were happening that were showing up as fear. And so you stepped through that fear that day. And then after it was done, maybe you felt kind of sick to your stomach, but you broke through that fear. And then the next time you broke through that fear, it's still the same fear, but you're just chipping away at it. Mm-hmm. Now, you might never, ever get comfortable in that fear, but at least you're doing it and you're becoming more comfortable. So every time we step through a fear, it's like, remember, like blowing up a balloon. When's the last time you blew up a balloon? I don't know, it's been a long time for me. But you blow up a balloon, that first time is like, ooh, you're really blowing hard. And it's hard to get all the air inside of that balloon because it's so tight, right? And then you let the air out. The next time you go up to blow up that balloon, it's a little bit easier. So with fear, what's happening is we're expanding and retracting, expanding and retracting. And every time we blow up that balloon, it gets bigger and easier to do. And this is what happens with our fears until you get to the point that, like for me, breaking through 365 days in a row, I was exercising what I call my fear muscle, which is not a muscle, but I have expanded my comfort zone to the point that now I recognize fear quickly. And I say, oh, I got to do this because I'm scared. And so what's happening is you're just expanding the size of that comfort zone is what's happening. Mm-hmm. So eventually you might get to that point. It's like, wow, what was I ever scared of in the first place? Right. And sometimes you might be like, yeah, like it's become part of your comfort zone. I remember I was standing on the red carpet interviewing stars. We were at the Academy Awards after party, and these stars are coming down this red carpet. In the very beginning, we got ourselves set up, and I am a nervous wreck, but I'm there at the red carpet. And I interviewed my first star. They went through, and I looked at that and I said, wow, I belong on the red carpet. It was an immediate shift that happened, and it was because I embodied the environment I was in quickly. So some of our fears, we can break through those faster than other fears. But that was one of those instant shifts for me. But some of that, like when I started doing live videos, it took me 6 months. I did live videos every single day for about 5 years. And there was a reason for that. But, it took me about 6 months to become comfortable doing a live video. So it's just, everything is leading up to the next thing. If I hadn't done those 6 months of live videos, when I got to that red carpet, I would not have been ready. But see, I was ready. It became part of my I could have a camera follow me around 24 hours a day now. Like I'm so comfortable being in front of the camera. Don't do it, but I could do it.
No, but I love it.
Right. Yeah.
After the break, I want to share something too. So I just thought after the break we would share some
Yeah,
more.
we'll do that. Well, and also I want to get onto the tools that maybe we could help people if they have some fears, how they can maybe help to overcome some of those. But we can clearly see how you empower 5 million people. It's just you've done it already right here. So it's amazing. But I just want to make sure that before we leave to go on the short break, I want to make sure that we get out your information. So if anyone would like to contact Lynda, you can contact her at Lynda, Lynda, at actiontakerspublishing.com. And that's action, ACTION, TAKERS, publishing, PUBLISHING.com. So make sure that you check out our website, that you send her an email, let her know that you've seen her today on our show. We would love that. We'd be very honored if you did that. And also, we want to give you a free link. She wants to share something with you, which is very, very sweet of her to do that. So if you go to it's the free link.
The Year of Fears. Yes, my book.
The Year of Fears. That's right. We're going to end that. So the Year of Fears, .com. So that's THEYEAROFFEARS.com. I'm going to have to break that up so I can see it better. But yeah, the Year of Fears.com. So it's a free link, free gift. So go there and get your free gift. And thank you for that for our audience. We truly appreciate it. We're going to be a quick break and we'll be right back. You are listening to Link to Expert Business Showcase, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm John Thomas. I want to share with you a professional products and services directory we call Going Solo Directory. And you need to check this out. If you want exposure to your business or are seeking professional product or services, this directory has it all. And that membership, for the many special features, you get the benefit of a worldwide exposure with a 40-minute video interview on an international business showcase. All this for just one low annual fee. For more information, contact GoingSoloDirectory.com.
Well, welcome back. You are listening to Link to Expert Business Showcase on the GoingBoldMedia.com. I am Cece Schatz, one of your hosts. I have my good friend Joanne Weiland here with me. Joanne Weiland, I want to blow your horn a little bit. She's the Chief Connections Officer and the founder of Collaboration Cloud Community, linktoexpert.com, which is why we're here. We're sharing all of the wonderful experts with you. So go to linktoexpert.com and check out this wonderful website because it's certainly worth it. And it does a tremendous amount, but it connects really leaders within our industry and so experts. So if you need someone, you want to go to an expert. So go to linktoexpert.com. So let's get back to our wonderful guest here today. We're talking about how to empower 5 million people with Lynda Sunshine West, Action Takers Publishing. And so we're talking about fears and really how to really acknowledge those, right? To create an awareness for those so that you can start to come up with a plan to kind of get through them so you can get to the other side and accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish. And so how to empower 5 million people, that is a tremendous thing. And we could definitely see the first part of the show, how Lynda empowers people. So this part, let's talk a little bit about some tools that you might have, Lynda, for helping those trying to get through their fears so that they can get to the other side and accomplish what they want to accomplish in life.
Definitely. I'm glad you asked me this question because as you can imagine, I'm on this journey. I'm breaking through 365 fears for an entire year. I have no idea what's in store. And so I had to eventually create some sort of system That would make it easier and easier and easier for me to break through those fears. Otherwise, I probably would have gone crazy. So the first thing is I mentioned earlier is awareness. Is this having awareness that I'm experiencing fear is just an experience that we have in life. So it's an awareness that I'm experiencing fear. Maybe your knees are shaking, your hands are sweaty, or your brow is sweaty, your throat is locked up, your stomach is queasy. There's nervousness that's going inside, because fear is just this, it's just energy. That's all it is. So we have this energy that is like it's pent up and it needs to get out somehow, whether it's through not doing the fear or breaking through the fear. Like we get, again, choices, right? We get to decide what we're going to do. And so once you've made that decision that you're going to break through that fear, again, recognizing that when I break through my fears, the vast majority of time, the result I get is amazing. I did something that I didn't think I could do. I'm proud of myself. Maybe I'm going to meet somebody I didn't know I was going to meet. Maybe the door was opened. I like to talk about the doors to opportunity. So opportunity is on the other side of that door. So if we're walking and we come across this fear, let's say it's a door, it's a fear, and I have this fear right in front of me, and I get to decide what I'm going to do. Am I going to turn around and walk away? Or am I going to open the door? Maybe I'm going to peek inside. I'm going to see what's on the other side. And then I'm going to peek through the other side and I'm going to close the door and walk away. Or am I going to walk on through? Mm-hmm. Right. This is like door number 1, door number 2, door number 3, right? Remember, it's like the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so before we open that door, we don't know what's on the other side. And this is where the fear comes in, our fear of the unknown, which a lot of times most people have the fear of judgment. It's a very strong fear that controls a lot of us. Mm-hmm. And so when we can recognize that it's fear that we're experiencing, this is fear. What if you did I'm going to give you one simple tool that can change the way you live your life, which is one of the things that I did. I'll share with you another technique that I use, but just change that word. I'm scared, change it to I'm excited. This is going to be scary. This is going to be exciting, right? Mm-hmm. Just fear, anxiety, anxious, scared, change all of those words to that one word, excited, exciting. Changing that one thing was one of the things that I did that year. So I never say I'm scared anymore. I always say I'm excited. You might hear me say I'm excited. This is exciting. And you don't even know what the truth is, what's going on within me, because I just changed the word. So what's happened is because in my brain, the word excitement, it leaves with this amazing feeling, right? So now everything is exciting and fun, which means everything is amazing. And I can't wait to do it because it's exciting. So that's the first tip I'll give you today. The next one is I created this very, very simple 7-step process to break through fear. Now, it doesn't work with every fear, but the fear of judgment, if we can really realize what the fear of judgment is and what it's doing to us, mm-hmm. then it's a lot easier. So this 7-step process, this is that, first of all, you have to understand and recognize, have the awareness that you're experiencing fear. And then you say this simple phrase, and that's, if I break through this fear right now, will it adversely affect my life 1 year from today? So a lot of things are happening from this very simple statement. If I break through this fear right now, will it adversely affect my life 1 year from today? So let's start with, I'm going to explain it, and then I'll share the other six steps. Mm-hmm. So what's happening is fear, again, it's something that's going on inside of our body. Mm-hmm. So when we come to a reality that this is a fear that, it's stopping me from doing something and I'm depriving myself of what's on the other side, mm-hmm. it makes it a lot easier for us to break through that fear. So if we say, if I break through this fear right now, will it adversely is a key word here. I'll share with you why in just a second. Affect my life 1 year from today. The reason we're going for 1 year is because if you look at it realistically, if I talk to this stranger, will it adversely affect my life 1 year from today? The answer is going to be no. It's obviously going to be no, right? So then I'm going to pull it back. We're going to say, if I talk to this stranger right now, will it adversely affect my life 6 months from today? So all I'm doing is I'm pulling the timeline toward today. So my anxiety, my nervousness, this fear, this icky stuff that's going on inside of my body is moving up to my logical brain. By having logic behind it, it helps us see that, okay, if I talk to this stranger, no, it's not going to adversely affect my life 6 months from today. Adversely is a key word here, because if you say, if I talk to this stranger right now, will it affect my life 1 year from today? Yes, it can, in a very powerful and amazing, incredible, exciting way. So adversely is a very key word there. Will it badly affect my life? So now we're just going to pull it back. We go from 1 year to 6 months, and we ask the same question again. We have to ask the entire question every single time, because we have to allow our brain to have time to understand the question that we're asking it, because every time we ask a question, our brain is searching for the answer. So if we don't ask the full question, it doesn't understand the question. So then you go, again, you're just going to pull back the timeline. You're going to say, if I talk to this stranger right now, will it adversely affect my life 1 month from today? So the 7 steps are literally just breaking it down, coming back in timeline to today. So we go 1 year, 6 months, 1 week, one day, okay, I'm getting my timeline mixed up here. 1 hour, 1 minute right now. So we're really just pulling back the curtain to get to this moment right now. The closest it ever got is like when I would ask myself those questions, I would say, will this adversely affect my life 1 week from today? There were some of the answers that were yes with that. And I said this to myself, okay, I can make it through a week.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, I can make it through a week of this adversely affecting my life, because I already know that in 1 month, it's no longer going to adversely affect my life. Okay, I'm going to do this, and I have to do this. Again, because I'm scared. You have been empowered with the word, I am doing this because I'm scared. It's not feel the fear and do it anyway. It's not face the fear and do it in spite of the fear. Those are disempowering statements. Those don't give you any power over your fear. But when you say it's just fear, I'm going to do this because I'm scared, you have now been empowered with the tool to break through your fears every single time.
Wow, that is very powerful. Yeah, I will share with you just quick. I know we don't have much time, but I know when I first started this whole thing, everything that we're doing here, I was on a podcast, and I didn't think, I was like, and I almost did like what you said, and I was so scared, right? And I thought, I'm not going to make it through this. I'm just not going to make it through. And that's what I kept thinking. Well, I could just do it for just this 1 hour. I can handle it for this 1 hour, and then once I got through the 1 hour, then I came out and they offered me a show, and I thought, okay, I can do it for 1 more hour. 1 more hour. That's all I need to do is for 1 more hour. And I just kept doing it over and over again. And now here I am, 12 years later, doing and I'm loving every minute of it. So you never know what you can do in 1 hour that can totally change your life,
Yeah. I want to share one of the, during that year, I came up with over 750 quotes, because, I'm experiencing so much that year. And one of those is to see the opportunity, then seize the opportunity, because opportunity is abundant. It is all over the place. And so why are we not allowing ourselves to break through those fears to experience something different in our lives? Like, I believe that it's very important for us to make sure that we break through those fears so that we can experience something different. Will you fail? Yes, you can. But if you didn't try, you already failed.
Yeah.
You've already failed. Yeah. And so what I'd love to share there, Cece, is something you said is, remember that first time You got behind the wheel of a car,
Oh, yeah.
right?
I remember.
You had that driver's education, and on paper they were telling you what was going to happen. But then you actually got behind the wheel, 10 and 2, like you're terrified. You got to push the gas. Is this the gas or is that the brake? Like how fast do I, like all this stuff is just going on inside of your head. And then the second time it got a little easier. Well, now you drive around, you're eating while you're driving. You might be talking on the phone. You're not supposed to be, but you might be talking on the phone. You're listening to the radio. You're singing along with it or what have you. Some people, I've seen them putting on makeup while they're driving. It's become part of your comfort zone. So what happened is that first time you got on the show, you had this unknown. I don't know what's going to happen. Am I going to say something stupid? Am I going to really sound silly? Yeah, really. Right. And right, exactly. But what's the big deal? What's the big deal? I say stupid things all the time.
Used to it, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but so what happens, it got easier and easier because you've done more of it. And now it's become part of your comfort zone. For me, this space right here is so comfortable that I can literally get myself ready in 30 seconds. Whereas before I would be like, oh, I got to get up an hour early. I got to make sure everything is exact. Like I know what I'm doing. And this is my zone of genius, And so it's like, just keep doing it. If there's something that you want to do. I remember that first time I was on that red carpet, I was like, what am I doing? I don't belong here. This is for those people. I'm not those people, but I became those people.
Right. I love it.
Yeah, I can definitely see it. Well, we're going to have to close out. Is there any last words you want to leave our audience today?
Yeah, definitely. Again, that one saying of see the opportunity, then seize the opportunity. There's opportunities abundant all over the place. Don't let that opportunity pass you by. Like when I interviewed Wesley Snipes on the red carpet, it was not supposed to happen because he passed me by. And so I saw that and I said, not on my watch. And so I brought him back into the frame and I ended up interviewing him because that opportunity passed me by, but I grabbed it back. So just go out there and do it because you're scared.
Oh, I love it. Great. Great advice. Well, thank you so much. Joanne, do you want to say anything before we close?
Well, we just appreciate it. And we're going to actually have Lynda on another show, our Goodreads Authors Corner. So tune into that one as well, because we're going to be learning more about her different books, as well as her anthology books and all kinds of stuff. So we're so grateful that you're sharing with us, Lynda, because this is very empowering, because we need to hear people that empowered themselves to have the courage to empower ourselves. So I just appreciate you sharing these stories. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much. So again, How to Empower 5 Million People with Lynda Sunshine West, Action Takers Publishing. You can reach her at lindaactiontakerspublishing.com. And her website again is actiontakerspublishing.com. And then of course, a free gift. We want to make sure you guys go to the free gift, the years of fears.com, theyearsofears.com. I'm so sorry about that. Theyearsofears.com. It's in our show notes. So you guys can go to our show notes and just click on the link. It's right there for you. So make sure you check that out. But thank you, Lynda, so much for being with us. We are so appreciative of having you here.
Thank you. It was great. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. You're listening to Link to Experts Business Showcase. I am Cece Schatz, and I have my good friend Joanne Weiland here with me. You guys can catch us we're coming on every week, so make sure that you do that. Go to goingboldmedia.com. All of our hosts and guests are on there. And of course, we want to thank WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And we'll catch you next time. Bye for now.